Bananas, we've got one banana. Bananas, two bananas, three bananas, four bananas, one more to make a bunch. Okay, who wants to be brave? Yeah. Okay, go on. Please everyone, the answer's coming. Go on.
The process that initiates guides and oriented behavior. Motivation is what causes us to teach or act. Depends on how we learn, so teach us. Okay, and the last one to gain knowledge.
Okay, let's have a look. So, the first very important thing to remember is that motivation is actually a process. So, just a sec. Show me process. Lady's going like this. Oh, most people are doing this. The lady is going like this. Yeah, some people go like this. The lady here is going like this. So is it static or dynamic? It's dynamic, it's moving. Yeah, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Yeah. So motivation is defined as the process that initiates, and initiate means starts, begins, and then show me guides. Yeah? And then maintained. And if you maintain something, you're all using your hands, that's great. Success. Everyone's going like this. So this process which has a beginning and then it moves forward and then it stays, yeah, and it carries on. Motivation is what causes us to act or to teach if you're a teacher, but in a broader sense. It causes us to do something. Whether it's to get water because you're thirsty, food because you're hungry, open a book or go on the internet because you want knowledge, yeah? Reading a book in order to gain knowledge. So motivation is not just about having fun. Motivation is also about survival. Yeah? And you remember Maslow and his hierarchy of needs? Have you seen that before? What's right at the bottom? Does anybody know? In Maslow, he came up with a hierarchy. And he said the first, you're thinking of critical thinking. This is Maslow. And he said right at the bottom of the needs, food. Yeah, you need food. That's what you need before anything else. And I think the second one was shelter, somewhere to stay safe, and then it's social and so on and so forth. So you have basic needs and then we move up. Somebody, if you go on the internet now, if you Google Maslow's new hierarchy of needs, underneath food there's a new one. Anybody guess what it is? Wi-Fi password. before food you need the Wi-Fi password. Okay, so just one more definition of motivation. We need to remember that motivation is not just cognitive, it's not just what happens in the brain, it's also biological. Yeah? I need a drink, so give me some water. It's emotional. Yeah? You have feelings, and they can increase motivation. We have social needs as well. If I'm working with a friend, maybe I'll be more motivated. If I'm working with 3 friends, I'll be even more motivated. But some people prefer to work on their own. Hands up if you prefer to work on your own. Lady here? A few of you prefer to work on your own. And as teachers, we need to remember this. Because I think, if you're like me, in your pairs, in your groups, all the time. But I didn't think about my poor student here. She doesn't want to work with her friends. Doesn't mean she doesn't like them, but she just prefers to work on her own. So in order to motivate, not all of them, okay, but for this student I need to motivate her by letting her work on her own sometimes, yeah? So we have the social side as well, and of course the cognitive forces, which are the mental ones upstairs. In everyday usage, the term motivation is frequently used to describe simply, why does somebody do something? That's what motivation is all about. Why did you do that? Why did you nod your head? What motivated you to nod your head? you're engaged, you're understanding, you're showing Peter that you've understood what I'm talking about. Why did you yawn and look at your watch? Because you're bored. Yeah? So, whenever you do something, there has to be a reason, a motivation for actually doing it. We often say that motivation involves three major behaviours, and we call these activation, persistence, and intensity. So if you activate something, what happens? Before the improvement, if you activate, you start. Yeah, activation means to start something. Yeah, when you download software on the internet, yeah, you often get an activation code. You have to type in the activation code, click go, and suddenly the world opens up. We also need persistence. And persistence means maybe
Keep on trying.
yeah, keep on trying. Keep on trying. If you persist, you don't give up. You keep on trying. But I can only persist if I'm motivated, good, and engaged, good. Think about challenge. I can only persist if the challenge is at my level. Yeah? But if you make the challenge up here, I can't persist. Yeah? And the third one, intensity. And intensity means to be really involved. The lady's going like this, yeah, to be really involved, yeah? How much hard work am I prepared to put into this, yeah, to keep the motivation going? So, we're going to have a look at what the three behaviours actually means and the characteristics. So, the first one, activation, activate. Who is responsible for this? The teacher. The teacher. Yeah? And how do you activate your students? What type of strategies?
Using different types of strategies that are very attractive.
Give us some examples.
For example, like the starting activities, starting with a movie, starting with a song.
Okay. Okay, so we've got two nice examples there of how you can activate student motivation. Yeah, some sort of warm-up, like using a video or using a song, whatever it might be. Yeah, but probably even before you do that, something else that we need to do. I think that comes probably here. But in order to grab your students, in order to activate the motivation, it is. But even before the physical movement, yes, sir.
Invoking curiosity.
Okay, yeah. Making students curious, yeah, is a good way to motivate them. Right, giving them a reason for doing something. Yeah? And
Start with a bang.
yes, start with a bang. And? Yeah, creating suspense. All of these are techniques which we need to use in order to activate our students. And don't forget, of course, also topic. What is it that the lesson is going to be based around? You go into a group on Monday next week and say, right, today we're going to talk about global warming and the environment. And your students are, oh, no, I care. How many units and how many course books are about global warming and pollution? It doesn't mean that I'm not concerned, but please, teacher, we've done this so many times. Yeah, the greenhouse effect, and give me something different. Yeah. So if I go in and say to a group of young lads, right, I'm going to talk about football and Premiership, and then maybe I'm going to get them. Yeah. So that's how we activate. Then this idea of persistence and never giving up. So what do we need to do in the classroom? What do the students need to do in order to show persistence? Sorry? You need to encourage them. Good. Yeah? What else is important? Yeah. How? Hang on. Okay, give the students attention. So how else can we keep them on the road? Yeah. Okay, yeah, encourage and... Yes, madam.
Monitoring their progress.
Good. And?
Asking questions.
Half a mark. Okay. Encouraging them, supporting them, yeah, and Sorry?
Reinforcement.
Yeah, reinforcing what they've learned and, yeah, guiding them and, yeah, that's a nice idea. Giving them roles, good.
Giving them level activities.
Level, did you say? Yeah, keeping things at their level and,
Some of the examples related to maybe.
yeah, okay, good. And,
What do you mean, achievement?
say it a bit louder.
I praise them for their achievement.
Yeah, appraising their achievement, good.
Imagination.
Very good, accepting everything. And what's the spice of life?
Competition.
What's the spice of life? Variety. Keep things different, keep things moving, keep changing things all of the time. And this will help students to persist. Yes and yes?
Give the chance for all the students from all the levels.
Right, and I think one of the ladies said about levels, giving different levels, and? Yeah.
They can do it.
Yeah. 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 Excellent. I think we'll probably talk more about different levels in the third workshop when we talk about differentiation. And intensity. This really links with the third workshop, but what do we mean by intensity here? What's the key? Sorry? Yeah, I think that's probably more with persistence. But if we want our students to work really hard, what do we have to do?
More activities, we have to reduce more activities.
Yeah, I mean the 2 points here, more activities and more challenge. Yeah.
Giving them positive feedback.
Yeah, very, very good. Giving positive feedback, encouraging students to go to the next level. If you think about it, a young person, or maybe one of you, you're playing a computer game. What's your aim? To go to the next level. To go achievement, successful and motivated. And what's your new aim? To go to the next level, and to go to the next level, and to go to the next level. Yeah. Okay, so many course book authors say that one thing that we can do, one strategy that we can use in the language classroom in order to motivate our students, in order to engage them, in order to help them to think that they're really learning language for a purpose, is to get them to listen to authentic recordings. In other words, recordings which are not designed for your students, but have been designed for the real world. Yeah? Like radio broadcasts and watching videos and so on and so forth. I want you now to think in your groups of strategies for engaging and motivating your students. In other words, what do you know will work with your students the next time you teach them? What do you know will grab them and motivate them and engross them? Yeah? Just 60 seconds in your group. See what ideas that we can come up with. Okay, ideas. What are your top strategies? What do you know will always work with your students? What will always work? Yeah.
The only strategies are teaching quite fast.
Okay, the F word, fun. Yeah, good. What else? Make it fun. Lady over there.
Skits or role plays?
Sorry, okay.
Skits or role plays? Sketch. Role plays. Okay.
Role play. Yeah, doing role play, doing sketches. Good. Yeah.
Learning by doing.
Yeah, Vygotsky said, learn by doing. So if the student is actually doing something, then the language is going to be much, much more useful and much more motivated. Good, what else?
We use the think, pair, share.
Yeah, think, pair, share. Do you know this strategy?
Yes.
Okay, Good, yeah, nice one. And?
We do also the strategy called reading for meaning.
Okay.
And
Can you just explain what that is? I'm not 100% sure. Reading for meaning.
meaning. Yeah, like you give the students a text, and they have to read it, and they, along with the text, there is a graphic organizer where it has statements,
Okay, yeah.
and they have to prove whether these statements are right or wrong.
Okay, yeah. So reading and doing a task at the same time. So task-based reading, where reading is not just reading because the teacher told me to, but reading in order to transfer something from the text to a graphic organizer, for example. Yeah, nice idea. And anything there?
Singing.
Sorry?
Singing.
Singing, it's appropriate, why not? Yeah, people love singing. Yeah.
Writing the blog.
Sorry, again?
Writing the blog.
Yeah, writing a blog, writing a journal, great. And the lady at the back?
By the movement.
Who, the teacher or the student? Yeah, the lady thinks the teacher, but I think the students should be moving as well. Yeah, get the students moving around as well. Yes, sir?
I think to start with a slogan which has a movement.
For example?
For example, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Right, okay, everyone's going to be doing this. Yeah, or punching you. Yeah, yeah, yes, sir?
Hands-on activities.
Hands-on activities where the students are actually doing, etc., 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 etc. Yeah? Let's not push this too far. But you're all aware of the things which motivate students. What you need to ask yourself is, how often do I actually do all of these things? We all know what they are, but we must make sure that we are actually doing them with our students. As you can imagine, there's been a lot of research into motivation, and I'm going to show you a bit of research now. Two Hungarian motivation experts whose names I can't pronounce, so I apologise, but I think it's Dornier and Caesar, I don't know, so I apologise. They did quite a small survey, I guess, of over 200 Hungarian teachers, and they checked their views on how to motivate learners. In the same way I've just done with you, I asked you, how do you motivate learners? And the teachers were asked how important they found particular strategies, but very importantly, how often they used them, in the same way that I just said to you. We all know what the strategies are, but how often do we actually implement them in the classroom? And there may be different reasons why we don't implement them. And they came up with 51 different key motivational strategies. I'm not going to ask you to tell me what they are, don't worry. But based on these answers, the researchers came up with a list of 10 what they call motivational macro strategies. It sounds like a disease, but it's not a disease. And if you look on handout 2, which look like this. So, at the top in the box, you've got the strategies, but I've mixed them up. So I've cut them in half and I've mixed them up. What you need to do is match the column A with column B. I've given you 2 examples down the bottom. So one of the micro strategies was set an example. Yeah, we'll talk about what that means in a minute. And secondly, develop relationships. So you're matching column A with column B. Just one thing to remember, there's more than one possibility for some of these matchings. Yeah? So you may come up with different answers. But work in your groups and see what you come up with. you think is the best option. There are many possibilities, so just put what you think is the best option.
Create. It could be. It could be create an atmosphere.
As a strategy, I think it would be create